Gemara. Today's daf is of Mem Aleph Amid Aleph. So the last thing we learned about was if somebody made his eved, his slave, as an apoitiki for collateral, and if he decides then to free the slave, so is he responsible for causing damage to the lender that the lender can only collect his loan? Now, according to Taisus, it's only considered damage if this was the only source of collateral. According to Rashi, it doesn't make that difference. He's like, even if he had other sort of collateral, because he made this napoitiki, he already caused some damage because he has to now find some other collateral, which makes it more difficult. So now the Gemara continues the Mem Aleph Amid Aleph, and we are sort of in the middle of the page. Right in the middle, it says Itmar. Itmar, we learned. If somebody said that this field is going to be collateral, there's going to be a lien on this field to the lender. And then what happened was the shot for nar. It was drenched, there was overflowed of the river, and completely ruined the field. Is Ami Shapirno. There was a person called Rab Ami who is known as the handsome person. Rashi says that was his nickname. They call him Ami the and he was an Amoida. Omar Rabbi Yechon. That's it. Since the collateral was the lien was on one particular field, it's gone. He has no other resource to collect other than go directly to the borrower and getting his money. Abu Shmuel Amar and the father Shmuel says, this one's forfeited. He goes another property. The loan is still outstanding. Amar Nachman by Yitzchak. Nachman said, B'shum the Ami Shapino, just because he's a handsome person who Shmaited, which we don't give him the right to say sayings which don't make sense, which are not very nice. What do you mean? It doesn't make sense. He's owed $100. He has a lien on the field. That field was ruined, so therefore he has no right anymore to collect from any other field. It doesn't make sense. So Gemara explains. To Targum Shmaited, that this particular din is talking about the Amalai. He said to him, Lo Yehei Lecha Peroin Elamizu. Clearly said to him that the source of your payment will be from this field. If he would not have clearly said that the source of payment is from this field, then all the fields are bound or encumbered to this loan. Is because he specifically said this field is the field you're going to collect from, and if it got ruined, then he forfeits. He loses the right to collect any other field. Apoitiki means you get it here first. Here it's worse. No. Only that pointing. This is where to get it from, and not if it doesn't work, it works. When you say lo yehei lecha peroin elam mizeh, you clearly spell out. This is the only source. Yeah. Time we learned how easy that particular acha b'shot for no good mishal chasim you get from all the chasim, but mimama lo yehei lecha peroin mizeh. This is the only source of repayment. Then you go to mishal chasim. That's it. So in fact, there's no argument there. They're both saying the same thing. Tanya either we learned, however, another I said they are poitiki about chayvik. So this if somebody makes it field and a poitiki for a lender and for the ksuv of his wife, Isha gave them Mishan the Chasim. Isha is gave them Mishan the Chasim. He gets ruined or something, they can collect from all other assets. Why not? Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, Bal Chayiv gave him Mishan the Chasim. You're right, the Bal Chayiv can collect from any other asset. But Isha ain't gave him Mishan the Chasim. But a woman with a ksuv cannot collect from any other Chasim. Why not? She'ain darka shel Isha. It's not common for a woman lachzer al what they did it. And Rashi explains that when it comes to collecting asset properties, there's all kinds of rules that come into play. Who bought the property first? Who bought the property second? Because the one who bought the property second has to pay up, and not the one who bought the property first. But then each one denies it. Obviously, that they bought. You have to go to Din Torah, and if you have to go to Din Torah, women generally don't go to a Din Torah. That's how Rashi learns. And and then there's a whole discussion. What happens if the field was actually sold? If this field is a lien on this field for the wife of it, and what happens if it was sold? So Tate said the sale is not a valid sale because you had no right to sell if it's bound to this to the woman. And then to go through that, even the husband alone who sold, he himself can go and retract. Not only the wife can go and collect from that because look, there's a lien on it. Even the husband himself can go and collect it. Okay, so that concludes the Gemara. Now goes the next mission. The next mission we already learned in Chagiga, the Beis, and we'll have it in a few other places as well. Says the Mishnah, if somebody is a slave and half free, and how can it be half and half? Yeah, had two masters. One of them set him free, one of them didn't. Ovid is Rabbi, we discussed it yesterday. Ovid is Rabbi, he serves his master one day, he serves himself one day. And I told you last time that there's an argument from some shape from Babasta, whether when we say Chetzi Ever Chetzi B'Chayim is division horizontally or vertically. So is it one day here, one day there, or every minute of the day he's half and half? We just can't in real life it can't play out any other way. These are the words of Basil. Shambai says the Kantam is Rabbi. Okay, the master who owns the half, you fix him up so every second day he works for him. But it's actually the Kantam, but there's the evidence there limbo. What do you mean? Lisa Shivcha E Efsha. He cannot. Now, marriage is so important. There's a mitzvah puravu, and the Mishnah actually highlights is that the Torah says, as it says in Tanakh, that Loy L'Toya Bara El Sheves Yisara. It's much stronger than puravu. That the world was not created only that it should be populated. So what should this ever do? He cannot marry a shivcha maid because he's half free. He's Yisrael cannot marry a maid. Shekvar Chetze Ben Chaydin is already half free. Bas Chaydin, she cannot marry a Yiddish woman. Shekvar Chetze Eved. Half of him is an Eved. An Eved cannot marry a Yiddish woman. Is Yivvatel not to marry anybody? The whole world was created for period of Ishanemah. It says the pasuk Lo Toy Bro L'Shevet Tzara. Now, why do we bring the pasuk of Tanakh? But Loi tell you, bro, Travis Yitzhara, when you have a passing of Chumash, Puravu. And in fact, that's the very first mitzvah that we have. So why would you bring Loi tell you, bro? So because, sorry?
He already had children.
But his children, by an Eved, the children that he already had are not his. We had more Yivam, that Eved ain't lechayis. A goy becomes a gayer. There's a whole argument of Yaitse, Puravu with the kids you had as a goy. But Eved has no children. He goes after the master. It all belongs to the master. So obviously, by Torah is a mitzvah rabbah. No, because before we had that you're not allowed to set someone free. There's a mitzvah in the Torah. The master is not. It has to retain his Eved. So why are we forcing the master to free the Eved? Because is a mitzvah rabbah. It's not stam a mitzvah. And in fact, Tesis here and Tesis Mabad, to have all discussion. We learned in Shabbos that we don't say to a person, "Take bishvil shetitzcher chavera." We do a small aveda, just like if your friend put in bread into the oven, you shouldn't take it out before it cooks because you're doing a small aveda. You're doing a small aveda to save his big aveda. You don't do that. So over here we're telling the master, "Okay, it's a small aveda compared to a big aveda." How can we? So taste. When we finish, so taste is different answers. Either because this is not stamina aveda. This is a mitzvah or mitzvah rabbah, and therefore it does. You do a small Veda for that reason. Or over there, we're talking about it's your fault. You put the bread in the oven. So therefore, why should I do an Aveda to assist you? It's your problem. Over here, it's Eben's fault. He has two masters, and one of them set him free. And therefore, that's why over here we say to the master do an Aveda. So last time, others say there's no Aveda here at all, because stamina about like Sechana, but hey, you're doing it for a reason. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just want to ask you, the voice that say, but this you're talking about, is this an Asay?
It's a Tanakh. It's not a.
It's not a
it's a shvu. It's like a shvus. Another reason why we bring this pasuk is Tosfos in the question is as an Eved, the Chatzi Eved. Tosfos has a general question everywhere, and all those trying to ask. Why does the mitzvah say a puravu come and push away the loisasa of Loyi Kaddish? Okay, now you didn't want to marry whatever a Mashivcha Loyi Kaddish. Okay, but let the mitzvah say puravu push that away. So there are many answers, but one of them is because the Yaitzel L'Shevis Yitzhar as an Eved as well. Because he was Yaitzel L'Shevis Yitzhar as an Eved as well, you just have somewhat of the mitzvah. We're not going to. Places in Chagiga Beis and Beis sound a little bit like the Goy most of the mitzvah puravu, not just L'Shevis Yitzhar, and therefore. As an Eved, you were Mekayim part of puravu.
So the Shevis Yitzhar and the one to be Mekayim is not even. I mean,
yeah, you have a kid. Yes, not Mamzed. The place that's an Eved can marry what do you call a Ger can marry a Mamzedis, and an Eved can marry a Mamzedis, and just marry a Mamzedis. What do you have to send three for? Teza says it's not a good idea to add increased Mamzerim into the world. But Teza is one of the Teza's answers is two answers. Teza gets four answers. One of the answers is in order for an asay to push away a lois, that has to be eaten. They have to be at the same time. Over here, when are you able to avera? As soon as you start having relations. When do you mekayim the mitzvah? Only when you consummate, when it's over. So it's not happening at the same time, and that opens up a Pandora's box, and you have a kind of brisket because Tesis and Zvachin of Tzadik Zayin that talks about that if the only way you can get to point B is through point A, then the mitzvah starts at point A. You cannot get to Gemar Bia without Chilas Bia. So therefore, what do you mean not be either? It's like the mitzvah starts from then. There's another discussion: is the mitzvah puravu when you Gemar Bia, or is it puravu when you have a child?
What if you never conceive?
You see exactly. So Tesis says Gemar Bia. What does that mean? Anyway. Let's continue the Mishnah. So Bishameh has an argument to Rasil. How did you help out the Eved? Ella, he forced the master to set him free. The he told the slave, look, you're redeeming yourself for half the money. You owe the give an IOU. And here's in a few instances the Chazur Beis Hillel Lahoides to Bishameh. Beis accepted Bishameh's opinion. So we call it Mishnah Rishain and Mishnah Achrein. That's what we had in the Chagiga. Mishnah Rishain is when Hill was arguing, and Mishnah Achrein is when Hill conceded to Beishamah. Says the Gemara, we're going to have two ways understanding the following argument. Talk about now remember, let's go back to the possible yesterday. It says in the possible that if a woman is married and commits adultery, then the man and her, they both get killed. If she is a shivcha, she's never married. If she's a chatze shivcha, chatze b'schayim. So half of her is sort of and married to an Eved Ibri. So half of her sort of is married, and half of her is sort of like a shivcha, and then commits adultery. What happens there? So there, she gets malchus. He has to bring a guilt offering, but they don't get killed until like she wasn't free. But the pasuk in the Torah is the hivda loy nidlah. So the pasuk says that redeemed, she didn't get redeemed. So we take it literally means she got partially redeemed, not totally redeemed. Sounds like, if, let's say the value was $100, she only paid out 50, so she's half redeemed. And then it says chupasa lanitala. Chupasa means a freedom, the shtar. So there's two ways of setting an Eved free, either with money or with shtar, which we discussed yesterday. So Gemara says in the Brayse, somebody says free half of his Eved. The Rebbe says that half is free, and the Chum say like half is not free. Now, what's going on here? Amar Rabba. So we have Rabba and Rabbi Yosef to explain what happened. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, the argument is shtar. They're arguing if the emancipation was through a shtar. They're arguing whether that the Eved can be half freed or not. The Rebbe looks at the pasuk. It says in the pasuk, but redeemed, she was redeemed. No, was only partially redeemed. Right? And then it says, which is the shtar. So the shtar and the money have the same din. Makishtar, the kesef, the hekesh. Ma kesef ben kula bechetzik, like a kesef can be whether all of it half it. Aftanami ben kula bechetzik, shtar also all of it or half it. So we seek the Rebbe holds, we equate shtar to kesef and a half. If you say in a shtar, half of you is free, half of him is free. The Rabbanan say, if you're going to learn shtar, we don't learn from kesef. We're going to start from law, the Gzei Shabbat we talked about yesterday. Rabban, Gamri, we had yesterday by an Evi, that he doesn't need a star. Ever mace, he doesn't need a star because he learned from a get of a woman. The husband dies, she's totally free. The master dies, the Eved is totally free. Doesn't need a separate star. So we're learning law. We're comparing the star of an Eved to the star of a woman. So we'll go further and go as follows. Gamri Lola Misha, Ma Isha Chetzila. So a person writes his wife, half of you is free. Doesn't mean anything. And just like we can have a Mekudesh of Zayin, the whole question, if you say to a woman, half of you is Mekudesh, doesn't mean anything. So, of course it doesn't. Af Eved Nami, as we see, Af Eved Nami Chetziloi. Also by an Eved, half of an Eved cannot be. Avo Bekesed, when it comes to money, so when it comes to money, the Torah says clearly, I want the Torah clearly says, I want that half, if you pay only half the money, half of it is free. And according to both stars and machlekes, whether you compare it to money or you compare it to a woman. So what's the argument? This argument. You have a choice of equating the star of an Eved to money or learning from Gzei Shabbat for a woman. He believes that Hekesh is more powerful than Gzei Shabbat. And the other one holds that Gzei Shabbat is stronger. And if you learn Lala Meisha, that what? You cannot divorce half of an Eved. So no, maybe Kuliyam Gzei Shabbat differ. Everyone agrees Gzei Shabbat is stronger because you cannot make up your own Gzei Shabbat. It has to be but what? And not only that, by Gzei Shabbat it has to be extra mufna, and if it's extra, it's as if it's actually written in the Torah clearly. It's not like a hekesh that definitely is not written; it's just a tool that we use. And Vishani Hoch, and here's different. Equal mifrach. No, it's Gzeir Shava. But here the Gzeir Shava can be undermined because it's not extra. And because it's not extra, you can be undermined. Mali Isha Shekain Eino Yotze Bekesef. A woman does not go out with money at all. So the only way to go out is the star. Therefore, you need a total star. By an Evet, since an Evet could go out with money, and because an Evet could go out with money, maybe the star over there is different than the star of a woman, and the half a star would work. So that's an Abba's version. So according to Abba, money, everyone agrees you can partially pay. Star, there's an argument. Star is an argument. There is an interesting argument that Sameh, Shalach, and others. What's the idea of money? When you pay part payment, is a part payment a kinyan, or is a part payment like I paid you for the value, but I owe you the balance? Like the rest is structural and moved. And they wanted to talk about that. This is sort of the machlekes here. If you give, right now we're saying everyone agrees. We're still saying there's a machlekes of money as well. If you gave half the money, if half the money is value, then half of you is free. But if kinyan is that you're giving a kinyan, if the kinyan says that you have to pay the full value of the ebed, when you give a half a kinyan money, you didn't do the kinyan. That meant any kinyan, and therefore it doesn't work by money. As we, what were you saying?
No, we're just talking it through.
Okay.
If $100 is the price, then when you hit the 100, then you trigger the
exactly. So if you learn that money exactly 100 is the kinyan, then you didn't do it. If you learn that 100 is the value, and you pay $50, you pay $50 of value, the rest I owe you. So then, well, the rest at least I'll pay when I can. So at least half of it value you did pay, so half of it is free. But at the moment, everyone agrees by kesef words. However, Rabbi says no. Machlek is bekesef, buy money. That's the argument. What kesef is, kinyan or shavia. The Rebbe saw Rebbe either pasuk said Rebbe takes a little bit, but does it partially redeemed. The Rabbanan Savri, the Torah didn't mean redeemed, not redeemed, part redeemed, part not. The Torah, that's how people speak. Redeemed, not redeemed. In other words, totally not redeemed. Not redeemed at all. You can't give a half redemption. So they argue by money, but by shtar, you don't have to look on your shtar. Everyone agrees you're not kind of. So you want to make sure I ask you a question. So that's how Rabbi Yosef goes. According to Rabbi Yosef, everyone agrees by shtar, you cannot do a half because compared to the get of a woman, it doesn't work halfway. They only argue regarding money. So then when Michael has a question, it says in the Brisa, the Brisa clearly says you use the shtar to set free half of your Eved. Rebbe says Kanos, that means even by shtar, Rebbe argues that you are kind of Chamle Kanos. You to Rabbi Yosef, you repudiate Rabbi Yosef's opinion. Rabbi Yosef by shtar, everyone agrees it doesn't work. So you have to has been repudiated. But the question is that, okay, it seems to me we can ask two questions of Yosef. But Rabbi Yosef said they're arguing by money, not by shtar. Clearly they're arguing by shtar. And the fact that they're arguing by shtar and they're not mentioning money means that they're not arguing by money. As if to say everyone agrees by money, you could partially pay. Another question of Yosef. Nothing Rabbi Yosef said makes sense. The shtar, the pliga, because of Rabbi Yosef Betarti will reject what he says. Also regarding the money, he says the machlek is clearly everyone agrees. Although Rabbi Yosef says pligi b'shtar b'uadim b'kesef. He said no. They're arguing by shtar, but the same thing applies to money. They're arguing both. So how come only high by shtar? You know why they're only arguing by shtar? To tell you, Rebbe will be lenient that even by shtar halfway we'll set the ebed half free. But for your mother, why go out of your way to show Rebbe's opinion? But let them argue by money and show that the chachamo, the rabbanon, that even you give half the money, nothing happens to the ebed until you pay it out fully. So the Gemara, the famous saying, like we want to show something, we'd rather show the opinion that's matter than us. And Rashi explains it better. To ask it, there's no kunz. Anybody can ask it. To be matter, you have to find a heter and a basis. It's much more scholarly. Toshma coming here. Another brayse it says, it's in the pasuk that you redeem yochel lakoil. It says in the pasuk that we would have thought that's completely redeemed. So it talks about now that shifra charu for the half a shifra, half of us chayr. So she's half redeemed. So I would have thought that she's completely redeemed, and therefore she's completely married to Evidivri. And if somebody has relations with her while she's married to Evidivri, she's an Yiddish woman. Chayim miss, right? So it says about that she was redeemed. Yochel completely redeemed. Tamalei malayniv dasu. That she was not redeemed. She's totally not redeemed, and therefore that so she's a shifcha. You don't even have to pay a guilt offering. Or maybe you're chayiv on an asham because a shifcha why married a bivri. Maybe the din is that even a shifcha married a bivri, you pay an asham. Maybe he was He was redeemed. What's going on here? That when you bring an Asham, only he was redeemed. Okay, so to do you better to do you. The Kesef is Shabbat Kesef that was partially redeemed, and you can partially redeem yourself either with money or with money. A little bit of the first payday that everything we do is Yoshiv Rabbi Shabbat Kesef. You don't have to necessarily give money, you can give also the equivalent. The Ainli of the Kesef, okay, we know about money is partial. You can do partial. Bishlam I also can be partial. Well, how long the cost of law safer crisis? It says right afterwards the cost of law safer crisis. So law talks about a star as well. It says freedom wasn't granted. How do we know so about a star? But it says law, and law says because of law safer crisis, we use law tell you so about a star. So we equate star to money that you can partially pay that, partially free an evid. So before we get to the partial, so we see the partial. That partially you are redeemed. Okay, so that's a partial redemption with money. And then possibly, maybe they're talking about you didn't give a full star. Also, you can set free half of an evid. Is a hekish. Makish, we equate star with kesef. We can break the dinner star by an evid to money. Makesef, they cool it bechetzer. Doesn't matter if you pay all of it or part of it. Ashtanami, they cool it bechetzer. Doesn't matter if you pay all of it or part of it. Now, so therefore, now we're saying there's an opinion that holds that sai star, sai kesef, you can do part. Now, who holds that? Because according to Rabbah, they're only arguing when it comes to star. According to Rabbah, every bit of kesef you can do part. Star, there's an argument. So according to Rabbah, the author of this would be the Braisa would be Rebbe, but according to Rabbi Yosef, after he was rejected, according to Rabbi Yosef, this is Rebbe after he was rejected, so therefore they're arguing by Star, they're arguing by Kesef, by both. According to Rabbah, what's difficult is Reisha Dibahakal, the Reisha goes according to everybody. Money, everyone agrees according to Rabbah that you can part pay, and Sefer, which took about Star, can only be according to Rebbe. How can that be? What's wrong? That's how it is. The ratio goes according to everybody. The same according to Rebbe. Ravashi says Rebbe. Ravashi says it is Rebbe. It's Rebbe. What's wrong with that? The entire Braisa happens to be Rebbe. So if one agree with one part of it, it's not an issue. The entire Braisa is actually Rebbe. So the Gemara, Ella Masnis in our Mishnah, the Tanya says right now, the Gemara thinks when our Mishnah says half and half, he had one master, and the master set him half free. So according to Rabba, let's say our Mishnah is anonymous because it goes to everybody. But how did the Evid become half free? The Evid paid out half his way. Somebody gave him money on the condition his master's known it. He paid out half of his way. Now he said, what? Therefore, he's half free. That's how we understand it. He's one master, and he set him half free. According to Rabbi Yosef, no one, the Rabbanan never hold that you can set him half free. According to Rabbi Yosef, by money they're arguing, and therefore this can only be Rebbe. Our mission is Rebbe, not the Rabbanan. And that's not good because we want to learn to according to everybody. Ravina says, the Eved shel Shnei Shutfi. You know what our mission is talking about? It's talking about a case where the Eved had two masters. The Divrei Hakol. Two masters, and one of them set free. And then everyone agrees. Because each one freed the 100% of what they own. It's not a question of part freedom here. I only own half of the Eved, so I freed that Eved totally. Either start or makes no difference. Okay, we'll stop.